Lily, a young woman with Down syndrome, stepped into Zara with a bright spark in her eyes. Today was special. She was on a mission to find the perfect dress for a once-in-a-lifetime event. As she wandered through the aisles, her gaze locked onto a breathtaking red dress, the last one in stock. It was as if fate had placed it there just for her. But not everyone shared her excitement. Two wealthy, snobbish girls standing nearby exchanged smirks, their voices dripping with cruelty. "This isn't a costume party," one of them scoffed. "She's going to look ridiculous in that dress." How sad. Their words weren't meant to be subtle. They wanted Lily to hear them. They wanted her to feel small. But what they didn't know was that in just a few minutes, someone was about to walk into that store, someone they never expected. And he was about to say something that would leave them absolutely speechless. What happened next would change the atmosphere of the entire store and, more importantly, open everyone's eyes in a way they'd never forget. But before we dive into this incredible story, tell us where you're watching from. And if you love stories that inspire and surprise, make sure to subscribe, because tomorrow we have another unforgettable one just for you. Now, back to Lily. She moved through the crowded city streets, her heart racing with anticipation. She wore a striped blue and white blouse paired with a red overall dress, a simple yet lively combination that mirrored her personality. Tonight was the gala ball at the Institute of Arts, an event where students, professors, and even famous figures from the art world would gather. For Lily, it was more than just a night out. It was a chance to shine, to step into a world she had always admired but never thought she'd be a part of. After showcasing her painting at a student exhibition, she had received an invitation, something she never saw coming. Now, she finally had her moment. And she was going to make it count. As she stepped into Zara, the fresh scent of new fabric mixed with light perfume filled the air. She scanned the racks, her fingers gliding over different textures, colors, and styles. And then, there it was. A stunning red dress, hanging on a golden hanger as if it had been waiting just for her. Her heart skipped a beat. It was perfect. Silky, elegant, the kind of dress that would make her feel like she belonged. And, almost unbelievably, it was in her size. She reached out for it, but just as she did, two girls strutted past her, throwing quick glances before whispering under their breath. "Does she seriously think she can pull that off?" one of them sneered, flipping her glossy platinum blonde hair over her shoulder. "Poor thing," the other chuckled, adjusting her black leather jacket. "She doesn't even have the style for it." Lily felt her chest tighten. Their words stung, but she wasn't going to let them ruin this moment. She held the dress tighter, lifted her chin, and walked straight toward the fitting rooms. But even as she stepped inside and pulled the curtain shut, she could feel their eyes lingering, hear their muffled laughter just outside. She knew these girls. Jessica and Lauren. They went to the same college, but they lived in an entirely different world, one where money, influence, and power dictated everything. Jessica, the daughter of a wealthy businessman, always had a designer handbag on her arm and a fake smile that hid her cruel intentions. Lauren? Her ever-loyal shadow, laughing at every mean comment, spreading every rumor. Lily had heard their whispers before. In the hallways. In study groups. In the bathrooms. They talked about the way she walked, the way she dressed, the way she looked. As if she didn't belong. As if she would never be good enough. But tonight, she was determined to prove them wrong. She ran her fingers over the red fabric, reminding herself why she was here. The gala. The chance to be part of something bigger than herself. She took a deep breath, unfastened her overalls, and slipped into the dress. The fit was flawless. For the first time in a long time, she felt truly beautiful. But then, the voices came. "Oh my God, does she really think a dress is going to fix that?" Jessica's mocking laugh echoed outside the curtain. "There's not a fabric in the world that can help her," Lauren added. "But look at the effort. Cute." Lily swallowed hard. Her throat tightened. Her fingers curled into fists. She could hear them. They knew she could hear them. But what neither of them knew was that someone else had just walked into the store. And he had heard them too. And in the next few moments, he was going to teach them a lesson they would never forget. What happened next? Stay with us, because this story is just getting started. Jessica's voice dripped with fake sweetness as she smirked. Oops, forgot these stalls aren't soundproof. Lauren let out a quiet snicker. Don't worry, babe, it's not like she doesn't already know. We're just saying what everyone else is thinking. Lily closed her eyes, inhaling sharply, steadying herself. Then, without hesitation, she yanked the curtain open. Jessica and Lauren stood there, arms crossed, waiting, like they had been expecting this moment all along. Jessica took a slow step forward, raising an eyebrow as her eyes scanned Lily up and down. Wow. It's even worse than I imagined. Lauren chuckled under her breath. Told you. Lily squared her shoulders, crossing her arms. What do you want? Jessica let out an exaggerated sigh and gestured toward the dress. I just don't get why you keep trying. I mean, you're actually going? Lily's stomach twisted, but she kept her voice steady. Yes. I was invited. Jessica tilted her head, her lips curving into a condescending smile. Oh, of course. But have you thought about what's going to happen when you walk in? Lauren smirked. People will stare. They'll whisper. Because no matter how hard you try to dress like them, Lily, you are not one of them. Jessica's smile widened, satisfied. And then? They'll just pretend you don't exist. Which, honestly, is better. Because you know what happens to people like you when they try too hard, don't you? Lily felt a lump rising in her throat, but she refused to let them see it. Then, Jessica reached for the dress tag, her fingers wrapping around it, lifting it slightly, like she was about to rip it off. Come on, be honest. Do you really think this is for you? Lily's grip on the fabric tightened. Stop it. Lauren laughed. No need to get upset. We're just looking out for you. We don't want you to embarrass yourself. Jessica leaned in, her voice dropping to a whisper. Are you really walking out of the store with that dress? Because if you are, I hope you're ready for what comes next. And that's when a new voice cut through the tension. Is there a problem here? Everything froze. Jessica and Lauren turned, their smug expressions faltering. Lily turned too, her breath catching in her throat. Standing a few feet away, his expression serious, his gaze locked on them, was Keanu Reeves. For a few seconds, no one moved. Jessica was the first to recover. She tossed her hair over her shoulder, flashing her best fake smile. Oh wow. You're Keanu Reeves. Keanu didn't react. He simply nodded slightly, his eyes never leaving them. Sensing Jessica's hesitation, Lauren quickly jumped in, trying to regain control of the situation. Yeah, we were just talking to our friend Lily here. Lily's stomach turned. Friend? Keanu's expression remained unreadable. Is that right? His voice was calm, but there was an unmistakable edge to it. Jessica laughed nervously. Yeah, you know, just some friendly advice. She's planning to go to the gala tonight, and we were just letting her know what to expect. Keanu raised an eyebrow. And what exactly should she expect? Lauren hesitated. Jessica quickly jumped in. It's just that these events have a certain standard, and we wouldn't want her to feel uncomfortable. Lily clenched her jaw. She knew exactly what Jessica meant. Keanu tilted his head slightly. Uncomfortable? Jessica nodded eagerly. Yeah. I mean, it's not like we're being mean or anything. We're just being honest. Keanu let out a slow breath, as if processing their words. Then, he turned to Lily. And how do you feel about what they're saying? Lily felt every muscle in her body tense. For years, she had dealt with people like Jessica and Lauren. She had learned to stay quiet, to avoid confrontation, to pretend their words didn't hurt. But now? Now, she had a choice. She swallowed hard and met Keanu's gaze. I think they're trying to make me feel like I don't belong. Keanu nodded, as if he had expected that answer. Then, he turned back to Jessica and Lauren. Let me ask you something. Do you two know what it's like to not belong? Jessica blinked, caught off guard. What? Keanu took a slow step forward, his voice calm but firm. Have you ever walked into a room and felt like everyone had already decided who you were before you even spoke? Have you ever been judged, dismissed, ignored, not because of what you did, but just because of who you are? Jessica and Lauren exchanged a quick glance. I mean, not really. Keanu didn't let her finish. Because that's what you're doing to her. And the worst part? You don't even realize it. Lauren shifted uncomfortably. Jessica opened her mouth, but for the first time, she had nothing to say. Lily, however, stood a little taller. Because for the first time, someone had stood up for her. And suddenly, the red dress in her hands felt even more like hers to wear. And she wasn't leaving the store without it. What happened next? Did Jessica and Lauren back down? Did Lily get her perfect moment at the gala? Stick around, because this story is far from over. Jessica folded her arms, her lips curling into a smug smile. Look, we were just... Keanu's voice cut through the air, calm but firm. Just what? Being honest? Helping? Making sure she knows her place? Jessica opened her mouth, ready with another sharp remark, but for the first time, she had nothing to say. Keanu sighed, shaking his head slightly. You think you're doing her a favor, but the truth is, you're just afraid. Jessica's brows furrowed. Afraid? Of what? Keanu's gaze didn't waver. Afraid of what happens when someone you don't expect to shine actually does. The silence that followed was heavy. Lily felt something shift inside her. The weight of years of whispers, side glances, and cruel laughter, it was still there, but suddenly, it didn't feel so suffocating anymore. Keanu turned to her, his expression softening. The real question is, do you think you belong at that gala? Lily swallowed, the answer forming before she could even think. Yes. Her voice was steady. Strong. Jessica let out a dry laugh, but there was no confidence behind it this time. Well, good luck with that. She turned on her heel, Lauren quickly following behind. They didn't look back. Keanu watched them leave before turning back to Lily with a small, knowing smile. You handled that pretty well. Lily let out a shaky breath and laughed nervously. I don't even know what just happened. Keanu chuckled. You stood up for yourself. That's what happened. She looked down at the dress she was still wearing, the same dress she had doubted just minutes ago. But now, it felt different. It felt right. Keanu gave her a nod. I think you're going to look great tonight. And with that, he turned and walked away, leaving Lily standing there, her heart still racing, but this time, for all the right reasons. But it wasn't over. Lily took the dress to the checkout, gripping the shopping bag tightly. She ignored the stares around her. It didn't matter what anyone thought. She was going to that gala. As she paid, a familiar voice spoke beside her. Hope you're not letting them ruin the moment. She turned to see Keanu, hands in his pockets, watching her with a small, knowing smile. No, she said, surprised by the steadiness in her own voice. Actually, I think I've never been this sure of anything in my life. Keanu nodded. Good. Because the truth is, you don't need their permission to be anywhere. Lily hesitated, then looked up at him. Can I ask you something? Keanu tilted his head slightly, encouraging her. Do you always step in like that? When you see this kind of thing? He smiled, but there was something almost melancholic in his eyes. I used to be the guy people didn't think belonged. Lily blinked. Keanu Reeves? Someone like him? I know what it's like to hear that you shouldn't be there, he continued. She was silent for a moment, trying to process it. And how did you deal with it? Keanu chuckled, a hint of something deeper in his voice. I did what you just did. I kept going. Lily smiled, gripping her shopping bag a little tighter. Then I guess I'm on the right path. Keanu gave a small nod, turning to leave. But then... Oh, you've got to be kidding me. Lily and Keanu turned at the same time. Jessica and Lauren were back. But this time, Jessica was furious. Sorry, but I just can't let this go, she snapped, her eyes burning with anger. Lauren folded her arms, looking Lily up and down with disgust. She really thinks she can just show up at the gala and pretend she belongs? Lily's stomach twisted, but this time, she refused to back down. I am going to the gala, she said, her voice firm. Jessica let out a sharp laugh. You really don't get it, do you? It's not just about what you wear, Lily. It's about who you are. Keanu took a step forward, but Lily raised her hand slightly, signaling I've got this. She met Jessica's glare head-on. And who am I, Jessica? Jessica smirked. You're that girl who walks the halls alone. Who never gets invited to the real parties. Who people only talk to out of politeness. You're nobody. The words hit like a slap. But Lily didn't flinch. Instead, she took a slow step forward, her confidence building. Then, you're scared. Jessica's expression faltered. What? You're scared, Lily repeated, her voice calm but unwavering. Because if I'm nobody, then why do you care so much? Jessica opened her mouth, but nothing came out. Lauren shifted uncomfortably. Keanu smirked, crossing his arms. That's an excellent question. Jessica clenched her fists. You don't get it. This world isn't made for people like you. Lily took another step forward, her eyes locked onto Jessica's. And what exactly makes it yours? Jessica hesitated. Lily pressed on. Your parents' money? The fact that you think you get to decide who belongs? For the first time, Jessica had no answer. And Lily? She just smiled. Because she already knew where she belonged. What happened next? Did Lily step into the gala with her head held high? Did Jessica and Lauren finally realize their own insecurity? Stay tuned, because this story is just beginning. Lily took a slow breath, steadying herself. Then, she went for the final blow. The truth is, you were never able to ignore me. You've always seen me. And that pisses you off. Because I don't need your approval to exist. Jessica stood frozen. For a brief second, something flickered in her eyes, frustration, disbelief, maybe even realization. But just as quickly, it was replaced with cold anger. Her voice dropped to a whisper. You're going to regret this. And with that, she turned sharply on her heel and stormed out of the store. Lauren hesitated, looking between Lily and Jessica, clearly torn. But in the end, she sighed and hurried after her friend. The silence that followed was thick, as if the entire store had just witnessed something monumental. The air felt different. Then, Keanu let out a soft chuckle, shaking his head with a proud smile. You just won that argument beautifully. Lily exhaled, realizing she had been holding her breath. I can't believe that just happened. Keanu patted her lightly on the shoulder. Well, you didn't just believe it, you made it happen. Lily glanced down at the shopping bag in her hands. The same red dress that had once felt like a question mark now felt like a statement. She looked up at Keanu, a determined glint in her eyes. Now there's only one thing left to do. Keanu raised an eyebrow. And what's that? A slow smile spread across Lily's lips. I need to get ready for the gala. The night of the gala. Lily's car glided smoothly down the road, city lights flashing past the windows. She stared out at the skyline, feeling her heart race, not with nerves, but with something different. Excitement. confidence, freedom. She had spent the entire day getting ready. But unlike what she had imagined before, it wasn't the dress that made her feel different. Something inside her had changed. For the first time, she wasn't trying to fit in. She was simply being herself. The red dress hugged her frame perfectly, its silky fabric catching the light just right. Her hair was styled in a simple yet elegant way, nothing too extravagant, just enough to make her feel her best. No heavy makeup, no trying to be someone she wasn't. Tonight, she would walk into that ballroom as Lily. The car pulled up to the venue. Golden lights illuminated the grand entrance, casting a warm glow against the deep night sky. A red carpet stretched out before her, leading up to the massive double doors of the venue. Elegantly dressed guests moved around her, laughing, chatting, completely absorbed in their own worlds. For a moment, hesitation crept in. But then, Keanu's words echoed in her mind. The truth is, you don't need their permission to be anywhere. She took a deep breath. And then, she stepped out. The stares came instantly. Some guests glanced at her, then quickly turned back to their conversations. Others weren't as subtle, some raised eyebrows, some whispered behind their glasses of champagne. She ignored them. A waiter passed by, holding a tray of drinks. She plucked a glass of champagne off the silver tray without missing a beat, taking a slow sip as she walked deeper into the ballroom. And then, she actually showed up. Lily knew that voice. She turned. Across the room, standing near the main table, were Jessica and Lauren. Jessica gripped her glass of wine tightly, her knuckles white against the crystal stem. The forced smile on her face was barely hiding the irritation simmering beneath the surface. Lauren leaned in. I give her an hour before she realizes she doesn't belong here, she muttered. Jessica didn't laugh. Instead, she strode toward Lily, her heels clicking sharply against the marble floor. Wow, Lily. You really made it. Her voice dripped with fake sweetness, but her eyes burned with something else. Lily took another slow sip of her drink, then met Jessica's gaze head-on. Oh, Jessica, you're still worried about me? I thought you'd be over it by now. Jessica blinked. Just for a second, she faltered. But she recovered quickly. Of course not, she said smoothly. I'm just waiting to see how long it takes before people realize you don't belong here. Lily chuckled. Funny. I was thinking the same thing about you. Jessica's expression hardened. For the first time that night, she looked like she had lost control. Lauren nudged her arm. Jess. But Jessica was already too irritated to stop herself. You think just because you bought a dress and walked in here, you're suddenly one of us? Her voice was sharp, filled with frustration. You can wrap yourself in all the fancy fabric you want, but at the end of the day, you're still just you. Lily took a deep breath. And then, she nodded. And you know what's funny? I like being me. Jessica opened her mouth to respond, but before she could, a voice echoed through the ballroom. Ladies and gentlemen. The room fell silent. The host stood at the front of the ballroom, microphone in hand. Tonight, we are honored to celebrate the incredible talent of young artists who have left their mark on this year's exhibition. And now, our next featured artist, someone whose work captured the heart of our entire panel. Lily's breath caught in her throat. Lily Evans, please join us on stage. A wave of murmurs rippled through the crowd. Jessica's eyes widened in shock. Lily slowly turned to her, watching as all the confidence drained from Jessica's face. Lauren took a tiny step back. Lily smiled. Looks like I do belong here after all. Then, with her head held high, she walked past Jessica, toward the stage, toward the spotlight, toward the moment she had earned. And as she stepped up to the microphone, she realized something. For the first time in her life, she wasn't afraid of being seen. She was ready the moment everything changed. Lily turned toward the stage as one of the event hosts stepped forward, microphone in hand. Tonight, We are here to celebrate emerging talent in the world of art. And among our guests, we have someone who truly deserves special recognition. Lily frowned slightly, confused. A young artist who has impressed everyone with her unique vision and remarkable sensitivity. The host smiled warmly. Please give a warm welcome to Lily Evans. For a split second, the entire ballroom fell silent. Then, applause erupted. Lily's stomach twisted, her heart pounding in her chest. From the corner of her eye, she saw Jessica standing completely still, her expression frozen in utter shock. A man approached her gently. "Lily, this way please." Still stunned, she followed him through the crowd, her steps feeling almost surreal. When she reached the stage, the host greeted her with an encouraging smile and handed her the microphone. "Lily, would you like to say a few words?" She hesitated for just a moment, then turned to face the crowd. The professors, the renowned artists, the elite guests, Jessica and Lauren, still too stunned to react. Lily took a deep breath, steadying herself. "A few days ago, I wasn't sure if I belonged here. But tonight, I realized something. It's not about being accepted. It's about believing you deserve the space you take up." More applause. Some guests smiled, others nodded in approval. And Jessica? Lily didn't see exactly when she left, but as she stepped off the stage, she noticed something. Jessica and Lauren were nowhere to be found. Instead, she saw someone else waiting for her at the bottom of the stairs. Keanu Reeves. His arms were crossed, a proud grin on his face. "I told you, you belonged here." Lily let out a breathless laugh. "Yeah, I think I finally believe it now." A night she would never forget. The gala was in full swing, laughter and music filling the grand ballroom. The chandeliers above cast a golden glow, making the elegant attire of the guests shimmer under the lights. Lily stood near the balcony, letting the cool night air fill her lungs. The weight that had once pressed on her chest, the doubt, the fear, the need for approval, was gone. Tonight, she hadn't just attended the gala. She had owned it. People had come up to her, congratulated her, asked about her work. Professors had praised her dedication. Art critics had shown interest in her paintings. And the most surprising part? She hadn't felt like an outsider. She had felt like she belonged. A familiar voice pulled her from her thoughts. "You're surprisingly calm for someone who just stole the spotlight." Lily turned. Keanu stood beside her, hands in his pockets, an amused smile on his face. She laughed. "I think I'm still processing it." Keanu leaned against the railing. "Well, for what it's worth, you handled it better than most." She gave him a curious look. "You seem to know a lot about moments like this." He shrugged. "Let's just say I've had my fair share of not belonging." Lily studied him, surprised. "You? But you're Keanu Reeves." He chuckled softly. "Trust me, I know what it's like to walk into a room and feel like people have already decided who you are before you even speak. And I've learned something." He turned to face her. "The moment you stop asking for permission, the world starts making room for you." Lily let his words sink in. She nodded slowly. "I think I finally get what you mean." Keanu glanced back at the ballroom, then at her. "So, what's next for you?" A few days ago, she wouldn't have known how to answer that. But now? She smiled. "Keep creating. Keep putting my work out there. Maybe even show my paintings in an actual gallery." Keanu raised an eyebrow. "You should. I have a feeling a lot of people would want to see them." Lily chuckled. "Including you?" He grinned. "Absolutely." They stood in comfortable silence, the cool breeze brushing against them. Then, Keanu nodded toward the ballroom. "You should get back in there. It's your night, after all." Lily exhaled, but this time it wasn't from nerves. It was from excitement. "Yeah, it is, isn't it?" She turned to head back inside but paused, looking at him one last time. "Thank you for everything." Keanu's smile was warm, genuine. "You did this on your own, Lily. I just made sure you saw it." Lily nodded. Then, she stepped back into the ballroom. Not as the girl trying to blend into the crowd, but as someone who knew exactly who she was. The moment that changed everything. As she moved through the room, people turned to her, not out of curiosity, but out of admiration. Respect. The girl who once doubted herself had become the center of attention, not because of what she wore, but because of the confidence she carried. And Jessica and Lauren? Nowhere to be seen. Lily smiled to herself. She had won. And for the first time, she didn't feel like she had something to prove. She simply belonged. Months later, Lily stood in a bright, open gallery, staring at the wall where her own paintings were displayed. A small plaque with her name sat beneath them. She heard footsteps approaching. "Told you people would want to see them." She turned. Keanu stood beside her, a knowing smile on his face. Lily grinned. "Yeah, you did." They stood in silence for a moment, watching as visitors admired her art. She had come a long way. And she knew this was just the beginning. The lesson. Lily's journey wasn't about fitting in. It was about realizing she never needed to. By standing up for herself and embracing who she was, she found success, confidence, and a place where she truly belonged. Because the moment you stop waiting for permission, you start making your own space in the world.